At this depth, the ship is a continent of metal.
Corrosion makes every edge a blade.
A single fin kick can erase the way back.
Entry points fail first and trap last.
Inside, the ship stops being a wreck and becomes a maze.
Wayfinding died the day the ship did.
Some artifacts survive by being forgotten in a corner.
Separate pieces become one object at depth.
The wreck does not forgive impatience.
Stopping is the safest movement.
Numbers remain when names are gone.
Drawers are time capsules until they fail.
Beauty becomes an object, sealed by pressure.
Posture can outlast identity.
Loose overhead means a quiet trap.
The smaller the corridor, the louder the risk. Labels are the ship's last vocabulary. Marine snow can be a compass. Cargo edges hide what cabins lose.
Sometimes the sea keeps the lock closed for mercy.
Force is what turns history into dust. Some stories cannot be opened underwater. Personal objects travel farther than names.
When the silt rises, motion becomes danger.
Lines are life when vision fails.
Crew spaces keep the ship's most ordinary truths.
Work identity survives as metal, not memory.
A simple snag can become a full stop.
Silence can mean stable, or it can mean waiting.
Small shelves keep what big rooms lose.
Opening underwater is always a negotiation. Even missing stones still carry meaning.
The last moment becomes a permanent room.
Respect is also distance.
Open spaces cause drift and confusion.
A wall becomes a compass in the dark.
Silt out turns direction into guesswork.
In the fog, the line is this memory.
After a silt out, every turn feels new. The safest treasure is the one that does not move. Slow opening protects the contents and the airspace.
Even a spoon can carry a whole dining room.
Private habits survive as sealed boxes.
Sound is the ship speaking about stress.
When the ceiling moves, hug structure. Edges are where accidents begin.
Collapses create new drawers.
Keys remain, even when doors are gone.
When the ship groans, the safest artifact is time.
The safest route is usually the one that still looks boring.
Even directions become artifacts when the walls collapse.
The floor here is a loaded powder.
Doorways deform into traps, not entrances.
Luxury ends up as shards in a corner.
Scrubbing underwater erases the story.
Every tight corridor is a question with one wrong answer.
Touching the wrong panel starts the avalanche.
Paper rarely survives. Cases sometimes do.
Closed pages survive longer than exposed ones.
The room keeps the last posture.
Private rooms end quickly. Public spaces go on forever. Big rooms hide disorientation in plain sight.
Furniture becomes a net for small things.
At depth, objects merge into new objects.
Service areas are tighter, sharper, and more cluttered. In the galley, every edge is a hook. Inventory labels survive longer than the inventory.
The floor is a trap when it turns to powder.
Anything dangling is already halfway falling. Going lower inside a wreck is choosing fewer exits.
Lower decks are stronger and sharper.
Systems remain, even when purpose is gone.
Current turns walls into sandpaper. If metal flakes, it can blind the cone.
Maintenance spaces show how the ship stayed alive.
Some hinges should never be asked to move.
In powder silt, swimming is the wrong verb.
One touch can erase the world.
The line is the only honest map.
The best recovery after a silt out is leaving the powder behind.
Vertical movement multiplies snag risk.
The fancy parts rot the safe, just with more patterns.
Travel objects tell class without words.
Delicate things survive by becoming stuck.
A room can hold a whole biography in silence.
The deeper the feeling, the slower the exit.
Void spaces are where orientation dies.
The wall is the compass when the room is too large. Vibration is stress you can hear.
Corners collect what currents cannot carry. Frames become cages for the smallest objects.
Daily life leaves the quietest traces.
Exits are safer, but rims are sharper.
Outside, the ship becomes landscape.
Re-entry is where confidence causes mistakes. Glass survives by staying still.
Pressure does not break glass. Impact does.
Overhead hazards never announce the fall. Groans travel through the ship like warnings.
A small clasp can hold a whole life.
Money survives as metal, not meaning.
Even silence can look like waiting.
Cabins lead to corridors. Corridors lead to getting lost.
The ocean marks danger with motion. Oval frames are where entrapment starts. Stopping is the first rescue tool.
Administrative spaces tell what a ship valued. Authority rusts into a handful of metal.
Travel was regulated down to the smallest click.
The ship still funnels movement, even broken. Big rooms create false confidence.
The smallest treasures hide under the biggest wreckage.
Closed containers are time capsules. Don't force them.
A clean exit is a quiet exit.
Literacy becomes residue at the bottom.
Stories survive best when nobody trying to read them here.
Particle flow is pressure's handwriting.
Messages traveled through these slots.
Communication becomes geology at depth.
Names and numbers outlast paper.
In a wreck, movement is the enemy of sight.
When sight fails, structure becomes a handle.
Some rooms carried voices across oceans.
A ship's voice came from small rooms.
Technology disappears first, labels last.
Sealed boxes are safer than open questions.
Work ended mid-motion for many.
Leaving a room is also leaving its risk behind.
Voids steal orientation faster than distance.
Sometimes the safest path is sideways.
Hull edges are strongest and most dangerous. Storage is where the ship hides its leftovers. Adornment sinks, but it doesn't vanish.
Leaving clean is part of surviving. Groans mean load, and load means change your position. The bigger the room, the easier it is to lose the exit. Small tools of sight end up needing sight to be found.
Vision becomes an artifact.
Objects draw people, even at the end. A smart dive is constant escape planning.
Sharp rims punish impatience.
Outside is freedom and exposure at the same time.
Re-entry is where silt and snags team up.
The sea turns luggage into sediment drawers.
Separation is damage, unless you control it.
When the wreck speaks louder, listen.
The quieter corridors often held the ordinary lives.
Vanity drawers become time vaults.
Cosmetics disappear. Containers endure.
The last reach becomes the room's story.
Most accidents begin with a careless fin.
Tight doors turn time into risk.
Service spaces reveal routine more than luxury.
At depth, even silver becomes one object.
Ceramics survive shock, but not handling. A mark is enough to trace a supplier and a century.
Where particles accelerate, metal is thinning.
Grandeur survives only as nth geometry.
Meals were planned down to the hour.
Small finds come from patient angles.
Crowded rooms create crowded endings.
Walls prevent drifting when rooms get big.
Not every opening is a path.
Keys map the ship's prival boundaries. A key without a door still tells a role.
Where food was made, heat is only a memory.
Efficiency leaves numbers everywhere.
Snags don't pull hard until they do.
Closed tins preserve what the ocean can't digest. The floor is the trap that looks harmless.
Cold rooms are tight rooms. Tight rooms are risk.
Some artifacts are safer left as they lie.
Stillness is how you get vision back.
In a wreck, touch becomes navigation. Service routes lead toward louder metal.
The ship's sounds change before the rooms do.
If it moves, assume it can fall.
Curves are where the wreck pinches back.
Force is how you become stuck.
Landmarks matter when everything looks the same.
Names are the last thing the sea cannot erase.
Low passages are silt traps.
Benches collected what people dropped. Travel identity was often just a tag.
Even in collapse, direction remains.
Leaving without a cloud is a win.
When the water speeds up, the wreck wears down.
The safer path is usually the quieter one.
Crew spaces show daily life, not ceremony.
Signals shrink to pocket size.
This is where people get pinned.
The floor is the real ceiling here, once it lifts.
Drawers trap objects when walls fail.
Time becomes a sealed object.
Gesture survives, even when flesh does not.
Leaving a room can be as delicate as entering it.
Open voids invite drifting and disorientation.
The wall is the compass when the room is too large.
Move in silt and the exit disappears.
A quiet corridor usually means stronger structure.
Crew spaces were built for function, not comfort.
Most traps don't move, lines do.
Personal objects survive as silhouettes of routine.
A doorway can be bigger than you and still stop you.
Stopping is the first tool in entrapment.
The safest speed is the one that leaves the floor untouched.
Even bones keep the habit of reaching.
Leaving is part of preserving what you found.
Open volumes magnify small mistakes. The wall is the compass when the room is too large.
If you can't see, you don't swim.
In the dark, the line is memory.
Leaving the interior is only a change of risk.
Outside, the ship becomes landscape.
Small objects hide in the ship's wrinkles. Objects survive best when you don't fight the wreck.
The sea arranged the remains by force, not intention.
Sound means stress, and stress means move.
Ship stays. The witness leaves.
A wreck is a lesson in scale and silence.